The found footage horror franchise Paranormal Activity is planning a return very soon, but the next installment will actually be a video game rather than a new movie. Paramount Game Studios recently announced a Paranormal Activity game that is in development. Paranormal Activity is one of my favorite horror movie franchises, so it's awesome to hear that they are making a game. With this announcement included a short teaser trailer, which might actually give us some clues about the game's plot and location. So let's take a look at the teaser trailer and all of the information we have about the game so far. Now, like I just mentioned, the game was just announced. However, they did give us an estimated release date of 2026. This game will be published by Dread XP, one of the most recognized horror video game publishers in the industry, publishing games like The Mortuary Assistant, My Friendly Neighborhood, and the Dread X collection. And the game is being developed by Darkstone Digital, the same developer that also worked on the terrifying game The Mortuary Assistant. So it's a great sign to see the publisher and developer working on the same project together again. Hopefully they will bring more unforgettable terrors with one of the biggest horror properties in the world. The game will also be available across multiple platforms, including both console and PC. That information alone will make a lot of players happy. Now, this Paranormal Activity game will bring the franchise's groundbreaking found footage style to us gamers in surprising new ways, mentioning how it will immerse us in a story that expands upon the lore and world of the films. So this means that the game will be canon to the movies and even continue the story. As of right now, there are 7 movies in the franchise, so I'm not going to explain everything that happens to get you caught up for the game, but I will give a quick summary of the overall story. The films are typically based around various families who become haunted by the demon Asmodeus, also known as Toby from the Book of Tobit. He stalks, terrifies, and ultimately takes out several members of the family and other bystanders during the course of the films. Now, why did Toby target this family? Well, an old grandmother of this family made a deal with him. The demon would grant wealth and supernatural power to any who asked for it, in exchange for the life and soul of the next male born into the family line. This would allow Toby to have a physical form. Because the family had yet to birth a male, Toby would spend his time silently haunting the family as he waited for his payment. And that's where the movies come in, which then brings us to the game. This game will introduce something that we have never seen before in a horror game. It will include an advanced haunt system. This system will dramatically alter the types and intensity of scares we will encounter based on our actions, meaning what we do matters. The decisions we make will change the way we are haunted. This demon will not have a set way of scaring us. He will have a mind of his own. That sounds terrifying, and I'm so ready for it. Now, a Dread X producer and Epic Pictures CEO mentions how they are thrilled to work with Paramount Game Studios and to have the opportunity to bring the world of Paranormal Activity to gamers everywhere. The films are steeped in rich lore and creative scares, and under the supervision of creative director Brian Clark, Dread XP's Paranormal Activity game will honor these core principles and offer horror fans one of the most terrifying games yet. The success of the Paranormal Activity franchise embodies the power and reach of the horror genre. If you thought The Mortuary Assistant was scary, we're taking what we learned during the development of that title, we're cranking it up with a more reactive and horrifying haunting system. It's going to be intense. Okay, that is great to hear. The Mortuary Assistant was a really terrifying game that had a ton of memorable scares, so the fact that this one is going to be even scarier is crazy. They also mentioned what began as an indie sensation in 2007 became a global horror phenomenon as the original Paranormal Activity terrified audiences around the world and reimagined the found footage horror genre for a whole new generation. These 7 chilling films in the franchise have earned more than $800 million at the worldwide box office, which is a ton of money, and clearly it will be spent well on the game. Now let's talk about the teaser trailer. The devs also released a very short trailer for the game. Considering how early it is, there is no gameplay or visuals to show off, which is to be expected. However, it does give us the classic Paranormal Activity slow boom audio, where it gradually gets louder and louder. Although you might also notice there is a short audio clip of talking on the radio. This is actually from a police radio frequency. At first, this audio might seem like a cool little snippet to add that gives the trailer some life. However, it actually gives us some hints about the game. It's kind of hard to make out, but if you listen closely, assuming I heard this correctly, you can hear one person ask about a 56, as the other person says affirmative 76 at this time. These of course are police codes used to communicate situations quickly. From what I was able to find, a code 56 is an intoxicated pedestrian. However, in Walnut Creek, California, this code is actually for an unaliving attempt, if you know what I mean. Therefore, this audio clip might have just given us the location of the game, Walnut Creek, California. This would make sense considering the first few Paranormal Activity movies take place in California as well. And like I mentioned earlier, this game will be canon to the movies. Now, code 76 for general purposes is en route, meaning the officer is on their way. So when the officer said 76 at this time, it would mean they were on their way to the code 56. Although it can also be a report of a prowler. No, not the prowler from Spider-Man. In police terms, a prowler is investigating a suspicion that an unknown person, aka prowler, is on their property. In other words, a person who moves through an area or place in a quiet and stealth way in order to commit a crime. So it would make sense to have this code, considering if you think someone is an intruder in your house, you would call the cops. Although in the case of Paranormal Activity, this intruder is probably Toby the demon. Because of what these codes mean, we might have an idea of what's going to happen in the game. So there are two possibilities here. The first one being that we play as someone related to Kate from the first movie, or just someone somehow related to the family. If what I said about the codes is correct, we can expect our house to be haunted, obviously, haunted by the demon named Toby. He will end up attacking us as we call the cops, only for him to make it look like an unaliving attempt to fool the police. And this police audio we hear in the trailer is from the ending of the game when the police arrive. Now, that's just a general idea. Obviously, the game would be much more in depth than that. The second possibility is that we will actually be playing as a cop throughout the game. Considering the police scanner from the teaser trailer, we might be one of the officers that responded to the code 56 call. The demon will have already taken out the family in the house. So as we enter the scene, this is when the game will begin. We will try to investigate the murders and unravel mysteries about the family, only to get tormented by the demon. Personally, I prefer the first option, but being a cop that has to deal with a ghost could also make for a terrifying experience. How do you guys feel about this Paranormal Activity game? Are you excited for it? And where do you think the game will take place in terms of the movie's lore? I cannot wait, and I'm really looking forward to an official trailer. Expect a video on the channel talking about it once it releases. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you like horror game content like this, please consider subscribing. If you want to support the channel even more, you can become a member. Don't forget to follow my Twitter at TerrifyT. Thanks for watching.